What is going on, people? Happy Cash Flow Friday in this lovely 2026. Shout out to the F word, Mrs. Mala Davis and Demario Davis. Thank you for the swag, family, football, and faith. Go shout out to the podcast. But asset accumulation. What I want to talk about this because I have seen the consistency of being able to asset accumulate that has helped people get in a better position. And here's the thing. I have witnessed success after success when it comes to people being able to have an impact on their family. And the thing I want to be able to emphasize the most is that you have to be able to put yourself in a position to move past that uncertainty, that uncomfortable feeling, because the only way you're going to be able to take care of your family is if you are doing the necessary mental work, getting around the right people. And let's face it, like in this AI-driven world, you will not be able to make a impact on your legacy if you have no assets. Because I just want you to think about this. And the more you add, the more options you have. Let me make a case in point. So I always tell this story, and hopefully it helps somebody, is when we got to move from Arkansas to Texas, we had over about 20 rental properties in our portfolio. And the thing that I learned the most is like not only when getting around a new environment, getting in a new area, but getting in a position where we can start building a business. Now, here's the thing that we had. We had a cash flowing assets that was able to pay for our living expenses and more. And because we actually, when I look at the time frame and everything, when we look in our 20s, like in our 20s, we did a lot of work when it came to asset accumulation. And so for us, it was rental properties. And so this is what we always talk about at Cash Flow Friday is when we got to the point where we're in Texas and we got to just sit and focus on like, what do you want to do? And not have to think about the financial obligations because we did all the hard work. And this is in the midst of having 2 kids. And you see my kids to this day, and they definitely have benefited from it as well. But we have built a form of peace of mind that I don't think some of you guys won't be able to experience unless you are willing to take the necessary steps to get around the community. Here's the thing, I can promise you this. If you already have said, I'm going to do, it's January 9th. So you may still be on that high when it comes to your goals that you set for this year. But I want you to mark my word. If you don't have people around you that's going to hold you accountable, that is going to help you stay focused, whatever you said you're going to do, it's going to be very difficult. Now, this is science. I have a book over there. I was going to run and go get it, but I'm not. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. You can look it up. He has 4 rules in this book. And one of the things he talks about is your ability to stay consistent at something after even past willpower. And we think in our minds, if we have the willpower to power through things, that we can make it. Now, part of that is true. But when you're exploring something new, especially around money, let's face it, if you have money issues, more money won't solve it. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If more money would solve it, look at the people who won the lottery. A lot of those people who won the lottery, what happened? They went back to hopefully, they benefited. Hopefully some people actually did, wise by it. But what most of the people who play the lottery, what happens? they have their friends, they have their family members, and because the people around them don't have a right mindset of how to use money, it eventually all fades. They buy a lot of liabilities. They buy a house. They buy cars. They buy all the different things that eventually fades away. And when it fades away, it's you left there looking at all the stuff. It may feel good, but here's the reality: you have to go back to work, or you have to. Hopefully, you built the business. Those people that build a business, and maybe I should do a case study. Maybe I should do more about learning like what those people what happened to those people. But it's a scientific fact. And if you really look at the people who are super wealthy, it's one thing you notice: they're not out buying lottery tickets. And why? Because it's a bigger game that's being played, and because we're so ready to get the get rich quick scheme. And even if you don't agree with that, but it's your inability to challenge yourself, get around the right environment, then you can't unsee what's from around you. Like, look at your environment, look at your people around. If you want to be able to get into assets, I challenge you, I urge you, join our cash flow community. And the link is in the bio, because the reality is we talk about how to build assets, and we're going to talk about that today. And we actually, this may sound crazy, but the best way to learn is through experience. So you can hear everything I'm about to say, but when you can get involved in the actions of, hey, I'm going to make this decision with my money, and I want to figure out if this is going to be a good thing or bad thing. What happens? I'm going to make a mistake. And when you make the mistake, it's better to make it in a simulation or some way, form or fashion game than it is to be able to make it to make it in a simulation than it is in real life, because it's more costly when you get to the point that, hey, I made this mistake. And because I made this mistake, now I'm more liable to the results, like whatever those results are. And so I think I want you guys to experience just a fraction or even more of what I think some of the students are witnessing. They're getting, that I'm pushing them to make sure they are getting the assets, playing the games, changing their mindset, because family is growing, things are happening, things are changing. And the thing that I want for anybody and everybody the most is I want you to take action. So while I have a couple minutes before we jump in to our Cash Flow Friday, I'm going to give you some free tips. If you go to our YouTube, it's Living and Investing in Bryan-College Station. This is our investment and, let's go here. Living and Investing. And just so you know, Living and Investing in Bryan-College Station, just so you know, is if you are someone who's not living, but if you are somebody who wants to buy your first home, because here, let's talk about this. Shout out, we have a book coming out, Keys to Legacy. And the reason I'm writing that is for you, because I think the mindset of owning asset has been scared away from fear tactics. And you know what? So let me stop. So first, I want you to see that this here is a simple reminder of like all the different things. So you can learn so many lessons about what we've done when it comes to a lot of the investing. So you can go to this playlist, talk about the basics of cash flow. You can be looking at homes. You can look at different investment properties. You can look at opportunities, even if you're in Texas or out of Texas. So I encourage you to go look at that. But let me see. What did Trump say about homes? He said something recently about how a lot of these big investors, I want to just Wall Street. I don't have a subscription, so this is go to CNB. So after institutional home buyers, they dominate markets like obviously Jackson and Atlanta. So what does this mean? Just so they're saying he's pressing them to be able to say, hey, when it comes to these large institutions, you guys need to stop from buying single family homes. Why? Because what happens? Now they own these institutional ownership of single family rental properties or in Atlanta, Florida, North Carolina, and Tampa. Now, is that not in Florida? Maybe you have family members in this area. But what ultimately happens when you have a big hedge fund, what are they doing? They understand the value of owning assets, but they understand of owning these homes. And they buy them up and then rent them back to you. And here's the bigger game. When you are not putting yourself and your family in a position where you can be able to own those houses and you give opportunity for these, here's the thing. They're going to do it regardless. I'm just telling you. They will do it regardless when it comes to these bigger institutions buying these homes. And why is that? Because they realize that you are going to want to rent it. They realize you are the person or family members that's going to stay in it and you're going to pay it consistently. And guess what? When you pay something consistently, you continue to pay down their debt that they have on that property. And what happens? You get no credit for it. And I talked about this in my recent, I got to have that up for this. Excuse me, y'all. I have to have this up, but in my recent profile, in my recent video, I talked about this. Last 10 years, this is what I learned. And go watch, they'll take a look at that if you own IG. But it's just understanding why you need to put your family in a position, even if it's just owning your house. That's where it has all started. Go order Keys to Legacy. Right there. Link is in the bio. Go to this link. Go to my real estate link. You can go here and pre-order the book. I just want to continue to pour into you. It's $21. Continue to pour into you about if you are not in position. Here's the opportunity. Join our Cash Flow Friday. We're about to start. Oh, we're actually going over. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. I got a little passionate. And as always, remember, your legacy begins when your excuses end. See y'all.